How many of you feel that once you reached menopause, sex changed? It felt different. It was different. It just changed for you. Write in the comments. But I also want those of you who feel like it didn't change to write as well. And I say this because for many people, yeah, sex does change during menopause. There are some people where it doesn't. In fact, some people say, oh my God, this is amazing. No pregnancy. Of course, STDs are still a possibility, right? But for some people, nothing changes or they feel even more free. So I'd love to know where you stand with all of this. In this video, though, we're going to talk about how sex can change during menopause. I'm Dr. Jen Caudle. It's good to see you. So the first thing is we know during menopause, there are a lot of hormonal shifts. And I think that doesn't come as a surprise to you. Estrogen goes down, which, by the way, does a whole number on our bodies, as well as other hormonal fluctuations. And one of the things that can mean, this lower estrogen, is that vaginal dryness can become a reality. That's right. The vagina can get thinner, can get drier, can be more susceptible to tears and irritation, friction, etc., and become dry. Now, as we know, sexual intercourse, sexual activities, etc., oftentimes thrive on moisture, right? And when our vagina is dry, it can make things difficult, even uncomfortable or painful. So if that's something that you're experiencing, just know that you're not alone and that absolutely can be one of the ways that your sexual experience changes because the vaginal dryness is something that comes. Now, the good thing is there are a number of possible treatments. A couple of things I'll just mention here, and then I have a whole video on vaginal dryness, but there are plenty of over-the-counter lubricants that can help you stay moist, okay? There's also medications as well, estrogen and others. So I'll make sure I link that video on vaginal dryness, but I want you to know that you may need to do things a little bit differently as you go into menopause in terms of sex because of vaginal dryness, all right, including using moisturizers, etc. Now, something else that can happen is a lower sex drive. Now, some people don't notice a change in their sex drive. I'm curious if you've noticed a change in your sex drive with menopause. That certainly can absolutely happen. Okay, that didn't make sense as a sentence, but you know what I'm trying to say. That can definitely happen. What is that due to? Well, it's due to the lower estrogen, as I just mentioned, and other hormonal fluctuations, etc. It's part of the changes that tend to happen during menopause, although not everybody experiences this. Now, this is the thing. The lower sex drive, this is where you're probably going to have to get a little creative, and I want you to think sort of and read between the lines. Now, when I say this, I want you to talk to your doctor if you feel like you have a lower sex drive, because number one, there are medications that are FDA approved, etc., that can help with your sex drive. I'm not necessarily trying to push a medicine onto you and say, well, that's the only answer. I'm saying that I want you to read between the lines and to put some thought into this, as well as talk to your doctor, because sometimes, in addition to menopause itself, sort of lowering sex drive, there can be other things that is going on in our lives that can be contributing. You know, as we get older, we tend to be on more medications in general, or have more underlying medical conditions, whether it's anxiety, depression, whether it's blood pressure, whether it's cholesterol, etc. And I say this to say that there are medications out there that have nothing to do with sex or anything, that might have to do with your blood pressure or your mood or whatever, that actually could be contributing to a low libido, right? Because different medications can have different side effects. And as we get older, we might be on more medications than we ever were on before. I would also argue too that, you know, sometimes we take supplements and things like that to try to help our health, but supplements and botanicals, vitamins, etc., can have potential side effects. You know, you want to go through all of this with your doctor, because you might be surprised to find out why and how your libido might be lower. That lower sex drive may not just be menopause, so keep that in mind. The next thing that can happen in terms of how sex changes during menopause is oftentimes it takes longer to get aroused. Okay, this has to do with the hormonal shifts and fluctuations, blood flow, and so many different things. And this is where I encourage you to get creative. Okay, this may be where you may want to try doing things a little differently than before, taking a little bit longer with foreplay. Maybe setting up a romantic experience, whether it's a candlelit dinner or something that helps you feel close to your partner in a way that may help you get aroused and help with arousal in terms of the pace at which you get aroused. You simply may require something different than you did before. If you could jump in the sack and have sex right away, this may not be it may not be you now. That's all right. So if you've noticed that it takes longer to get aroused, that's not necessarily uncommon. Listen to your body and heed what it is saying and what it's telling you. And allow this to be an opportunity for you and your partner to get to know each other in a different way and to explore new things, whether it's using toys or games, or whether it's watching sexy videos, or whatever you want to do that makes sense for you and your partner. But this is, by the way, permission to do that. It's really important for me that you feel just as much of a human being and as a person in menopause as you did before you reached menopause. Menopause for years has seemed like this sort of abyss, this big black hole where we didn't know a lot about it, or felt like we didn't know a lot about it, but we knew that things changed. And what I love now is that people are talking about menopause. We are talking about the symptoms, and I want you to embrace it and to understand that you are perfectly fine and you are perfectly normal. And these are some of the changes that do happen as our body ages. There are ways to get around it, but I don't want you to feel like there's anything wrong with you, because this is part of the cycle of life. Most of all, though, I want you to know that there are ways to improve and to help your sex life should you encounter any of these. So as we continue to go on, I had to say that, to get that in. The next thing that can affect our sex lives in menopause is night sweats, hot flashes, okay? Hot flashes are often unpredictable for folks. There are ways to minimize hot flashes or to make them more bearable. I've got some videos on that. We do even have medications and other treatments that we use for them, but for some people, they still come and they are still disruptive. And in particular, if you suffer with nighttime hot flashes where you're not getting enough sleep or good quality sleep, think about how that's going to make you feel during the day. And then think about how that may impact or affect your ability or desire to have sex. It might impact it big time. Okay, this one is part of you giving yourself grace. Understand that if you're dealing with hot flashes or other things, you're not sleeping comfortably, etc., you don't sleep well, that's going to impact your alertness, your awakeness, and even perhaps your ability to want to have sex. So please understand that being tired and sort of going through the change can impact your whole body. And the last thing sort of relates to that and many of the other things I've talked about, which is the emotional shifts that can happen with menopause. Again, there are a lot of hormonal shifts happening, and our bodies are changing as well. Our mind is affected too. And remember, our mind plays a role in our sex life. Remember, our mind actually is a big part of our sex life, okay? So once again, this is all to have you, or to remind you rather, to give yourself grace. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't punish yourself or crucify yourself. Recognize that menopause brings a whole lot of newness that your body may not have seen before, that you may not have ever had to deal with. And that's okay, and you'll be just fine. But know there are changes that happen, and there are some things that you can do about them. First thing I would do is start by talking to your doctor, your GYN. I want you to write in the comments what changes you've experienced with your sex life during menopause. Write what you've experienced in the comments. Write what you've done to overcome them, or suggestions or things your doctor has given you. I'm curious. I think this will help a lot of other people out there. I'm Dr. Jen. It is good to see you. A practicing family physician, on-air health expert, and video creator. I do daily videos on all sorts of stuff. On Facebook, please like and follow my page. I'm on YouTube, of course. Please subscribe to my channel. Click the little bell for updates. Guys, I'm on TikTok and WhatsApp and Instagram, etc. at Dr. Jen Caudle. And also, please sign up for my free health newsletter at www.drjencaudle.com. All right, guys, take care.